Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it.
Technology, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovesi. We want to thank you for joining us today as we go live every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn, on YouTube. And if you want to catch the replays, we go out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and basically anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you'll find us there. And look, bookmark your calendar because you don't want to miss a single episode of what we're doing here again every Wednesday, 1 p.m. live. And live is where it's at. That means when you come here, you don't just watch us. You get to interact with us. You get to ask questions of us and our guests, which is very important because sometimes the only thing standing between you and the next level is the answer to that burning question. And if you want to see who's coming up in future episodes, we got a whole roster of people, amazing people that Steve brings on the show. And you can see who we have there at masterconnector.show. Find out who's coming up. Bookmark your calendar for the guests that you absolutely cannot miss and be live for. And also, if you want to be a guest on the episode, there's an application there. If you think you got what it takes to be on the Master Connector Show, you can apply there as well. If you want to sponsor an episode, masterconnector.show. And listen, I'm pretty excited because we have in-house our man, Steve Spiro, is now a official TEDx speaker. I'm going to put this in the comments here for you to check it out. His TEDx talk is now live. I've caught it a couple of times, and I'm going to tell you something. You know, the topic is very apropos for me and Steve as introverts. But listen, you want to check it out because this is going to give you hope. If you're an introvert and you always heard your entire life like I did, you need to be extroverted to win. It's a bunch of bullcrap. Steve's going to tell you how, tell you why, and tell you what it's all about. I put it in the comments there. Catch Steve's TEDx talk. It is a game changer for sure. And listen, we are all connectors here, but there's only one master connector. So let's bring him on, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Robbie J? How you doing, sir?
Good,
Thanks
man.
for that. I appreciate you big time. And what an honor. Yeah, it was an honor to do that, and excited for the world to hear that message. And listen, if you're not an introvert, you could benefit from that talk too. So appreciate you big time. And hey, what's going on, Kim? Coming in, I believe, from West Africa, I believe. Good to have you here. And of course, Mr. Russ Hedge. I can't get the name. I don't know. It's the dyslexia here. He's in the house with us as well. So appreciate you big time. Well, what's going on, everyone? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. Excited to be here with you. So here's a question. What if the reason you're not seen as authority in your space has nothing to do with your talent, but everything to do with how you show up and position yourself? You know, I got to say this, you know, being a speaker, doing that TED talk we spoke of that Rob talked about, having, the ability to be a published author now and having this show every week was not on the radar. Okay. But you know what? I realized, number one, to make impact in this world, I needed some platform to be able to reach people. And this platform, having speaker, I know Eric F. King has, and you can hear about him. He has a great platform as well. But having a platform to reach other folks and show what you're about and tell stories, inspire people, and whatever your message that the world needs to hear, you have a platform. It's incredibly important to do it if you want to have additional credibility, right? I mean, a big part of today's show is about, building authority and credibility, right? So one great way is to have a platform. And by the way, me and Rob are very sort of abundance mindset. We're not, scarcity mindset. And that is, if you want to put on a, LinkedIn Live, I think LinkedIn allows you to nowadays. I mean, I remember back in the day when Cameron was my co-host back, this is centuries ago, it feels like. But when we were looking at doing some kind of broadcast, I applied, and it was a miracle that I applied because he had been applying. He had been doing a lot of broadcasts, and he didn't get approved by LinkedIn. Not the case today. Obviously, I got approved, but now today, I'm pretty sure almost anyone can, with a couple of very minor parameters, do a show. So that's one way that you can get your word out, and you don't need anything fancy, or you don't need a great studio. I mean, I'm doing this right from the home office. I know Rob also is. So, but it's a great opportunity to again get people to understand, what you're about. And consistency of message, very, very, very crucial here. I believe, and I was at a TEDx talk last night in Stanford. So my man Brandon Genovesi put together an incredible event yesterday, and there was some amazing people, incredible speakers. I'm excited to be a part of that. Obviously, I wasn't on stage, but it was great to see that perspective, and just having the ability for people to share their message. And I looked up everybody afterwards that had messages, and fortunately for them, their message that they spoke from stage was very much in line with who they are and what they're about, because that's key, is obviously making sure you have a consistent message across the board in whatever platform you're speaking on. So we're going to do a lot of talking on this. This is going to be a great topic. And again, if you're intimidated, you don't think you're going to want to ever be on a stage or do broadcast, it's still going to be valuable for you. I'm reading a great book by John Maxwell. Rob, I don't know if you have this book. It's a really good one. Liz, my wife, found it. It's the 16 Irrefutable Laws of Communication. And even though it sounds like it's about communication, which it is, it really is, I think, addressed to speakers. But communication, learning how to really communicate, very, very crucial. So anyway, we're going to have a great show. If you're ready for my man, Robbie G, to introduce our guest, type in the comments. Let's go. And Rob G, I'll pass it to you, buddy.
All right, let's go, everybody. Eric F. King is the founder and CEO of StudioSpeaking.com and is known as the king of studio events. He helps speakers, coaches, and authors go from unknown experts to in-demand authorities by combining strategy, storytelling, and stage presence. Through his high-energy VIP studio speaking events, Eric has helped hundreds of professionals build magnetic personal brands, convert leads into high-paying clients, and create professional assets that elevate their credibility. His work is focused on helping people stop being the best-kept secret and start getting seen, heard, and paid for the value they bring. Please welcome to the show, Eric F. King. What is up, Eric?
How you doing? Good to see both of you.
The king is in the house. What's going on? I love that. The king of all studios, I think. Is that what it was? I love it.
Studio events, yes.
Yes, it's awesome. It's great stuff. Well, great to have you on here. I know we've been anticipating this for a while, and just want to give a shout out real quick here to Brandy. Brandy on in the house here. Glad to have you on here, Brandy. And of course, we missed you last week, but Yolanda in the house. I know she was in after with the rebroadcast, so she was chiming in there, but we appreciate you big time, Yolanda. It's not a real show unless Yolanda's in the house. But anyway, let's get into this. This is awesome. So, one of the things I spoke about a little bit when I was, talking in the beginning was authority. And, one of the things I love about being a speaker or having a platform is you become sort of that sort of thought leader. You have authority and people kind of look at you differently. So I want to hear your perspective. So community, type in #authority. Here's the question. What's the fastest way for someone to go from unknown to in demand?
Well, actually, it's really very simple to speak on other people's stages, right? A lot of times people will have a show, like you have a show, I have a platform, and they do lives. They do their own personal lives every week. But a lot of times what happens is they're speaking to the same people, right? So you want to speak on as many stages as you can where people are edifying you, right? Like the way you brought me onto stage, right? And that you just gave me that authority, right? So that's important. You need to speak on different types of stages frequently, as frequently as possible.
Nice. Love that. That's great. Yeah. And I find the value of that. You said edification, and it's funny because I did not understand that. When I was a kid, I would hear the phrase edification. I thought, oh, you mean like for your edification? That was how, back in the Bronx, that's what they used that phrase for. It was like this. It's like for your edification, like that was. But you're talking about edification as in building up and showing somebody, if you will, some extra respect and just edifice build, right? Is a building,
that
right?
stamp of
Edification.
approval, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. It's great. Stamp of approval. Exactly right. That's a better way to put it. Thanks, Rob G. That's why he's the brand authority, because he knows he's a wordsmith. He knows. But anyway, let's keep rolling here. So, to me, everything is about positioning. And I know Rob calls me the master connector. By the way, everyone can be a master connector. But I believe a lot of that is how you position yourself in terms of what you are known for. So community, type in hashtag positioning. So what separates someone who is good, quote unquote, from someone who's seen as the go-to expert?
Well, then that's a great question. One of the things that I find is people want to be all things to all people, right? When people apply to speak on my stage, one of the things that disqualifies them is when they speak about everything. I said, so what do you speak about? Oh, I speak about everything, anything you want, right? And when you do that, you are not considered an expert. You have to have a niche. You are an incredible connector, right? One of the best in the world, and that's what you do, right? So when I promote you, I'm not going to say, well, he knows a little bit of marketing, he knows a little bit of this, he knows a little bit of that, because people won't know whether to invite you to speak on their stage. But when I say exactly what you do, they're like, oh, we can use them. We can pay for this, right? So the more niche you are, the more of an expert you are, the more opportunities you'll get, and the more you'll get paid, because now you are the person that people will sought after. You'll be the sought after speaker in your industry. So that's the key, to be an expert. I think a lot of people think that the more they speak about, the better, but that's not actually the truth. You shouldn't have more than, at the most, 3 signature talks, 3. So
that's right.
Yeah, and I want to reinforce what you're saying to the audience, Eric, because in the world of branding, that's huge. And I get pushback on this from certain people, and because it goes against our better judgment, right? We think when we go into business, and this can apply to speaking, clearly what you're talking about, but even with your clients, let me cast a wide net so I can catch a lot of fish. No, you don't necessarily, not in the world of business. What you've got to do is you want to become what Eric said. You want to become the go-to person, the expert in your field, so that people go, I want to work with you and nobody else. You niche down to broaden out, because once you become the go-to person, then everybody else outside of that niche will be like, hey, I know you help those guys over there, but can you help me too? And you go, sure, if you want.
yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I think it was Ivan Meisner from the organization BNI. By the way, great organization. I'm just a recovering BNI person, but anyway, he talks about in networking that you want to definitely be very specific about what you do, and you don't want to, you don't do the guy who do everything. So same thing applies, same idea. And I could just say from personal, experience, when I was talking about all the things I've done and do, people were confused, and so they said, oh, you're the guy who connects people. Okay, maybe, but so then as I started to really become very defined and very specific about my positioning as talking about human connection, and it's not about, having lots of connections and networking, but it's about that human connection piece. Yeah, that's really important. So let's continue on. I know, a lot of what you do with your studio is about visibility, and feel free to talk a little bit about that as well. But so community, type in hashtag visibility. Why do so many talented people stay invisible despite having real value?
I think some people are just too picky, really. Right? They're like, I only speak on this type of stage. I can only get on a podcast if you have a certain number of followers. Let me tell you something. You can get on a podcast that doesn't have a lot of followers, and someone can see you there who's a meeting holder and invite you to speak at a huge conference, right? So just take the opportunities and just run with them. Don't be so picky. I think a lot of people are just too picky. If you don't pay me $10,000, there's no way I'm coming over there. Look, why don't you take half of that? It's better than nothing, right? And then you can get other gigs, right? So people want to be the Tony Robbins, the Les Brown right away. You got to start somewhere. You really got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's so crucial to what you said, and I know that there are times where I will agree to speak at no cost because of visibility. But here's the point, and you said it, and I say it almost all the time whenever I meet somebody and I send them a great to meet you, text message. I'm like, I say at the end of it, you never know, which is true. You never know who's watching, who's going to see, who who you just don't know. I mean, for example, I think I shared this with the community already a little bit, but I'll just reiterate it. I was speaking to a gentleman. I met a gentleman through one of my master network groups, and he basically is a Northwestern Mutual rep, which is great. I mean, a great organization, and he was doing the. Uh, we were talking. We stayed in touch about a year and a half later, and what happened was he said after we spoke again, after I got off my TED, it was literally like 2 weeks after the TED experience. He's like, Steve, you should come and speak to our group. And sure enough, he connected me with somebody who connected me with the chief development officer. And here I am, I'll be speaking with that group in September. And it's just from somebody who I would have never in a million years thought there was any value. So definitely take those opportunities. Obviously, you got to be smart with your time and your money, your resources. You got to be a good steward. But in reality, you just don't know for sure. Yeah.
Let me just add one thing, if you don't
Please,
mind.
I want to hear you.
So,
I don't want to hear
yes.
myself speak.
So there was a lady that was considering speaking on my stage in my studio, and she said, well, I'm focused right now on big podcasts, right? So that's my focus, right? So I never really thought about a studio. I said, well, you don't know what kind of opportunities you can get, right? So she ended up speaking on my stage. She got 3 paid speaking engagements from speaking on my stage. She got 2 podcasts, and then she met with some other speakers and collaborated with them, and now she's working with them. So she got so many different opportunities, but she was just focused on one before, right? So like I said, you never know. You speak one place, you don't know where that's going to take you. You don't know where that's going to take you. So I just thought about that. I wanted to share.
That's great perspective for sure. Some people are out there, and you might be like, I know we've invited Yolanda to be on our show, and she's not necessarily comfortable being on camera on stage, and that's okay. And sometimes it's a confidence thing, sometimes it's just a comfort level, and it's okay. I know for me as an introvert, I had zero confidence. I didn't think I had value, and it took a lot of self-development, and a lot of reps, and a lot of just doing stuff to develop confidence. But I want to talk about confidence a little bit, Eric. So community, type in #confidence. So how does building authority impact someone's confidence on stage and off?
Yes, so it definitely impacts your confidence. So I always say success begets success. My first speech, I was shaking like a leaf. It was, and someone actually told me, you need to join Toastmasters because you need help.
Right.
So I ended up joining, ended up moving all the way up. I started winning competitions, and I started building my confidence. Right. So I wish I could tell you to go read a book, but that's not going to help. What's going to help is to go out there and make speeches, be in situations where they're uncomfortable. Right, where the mic doesn't work, where different situations happen. The more you've been through, the more confident you are. Right. Yep. So it's not about avoiding problems or mistakes. It's about jumping into it, and that's where the confidence comes. I've probably given 1,000 speeches. That's why I can get on stage, any stage, and I'm confident.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've heard it said it's not about what happens to you, but how you react to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Bob J.
And I got to say that and Eric, Steve and I go back about 28 years. So he and I started our business journeys together at one point. And part of that was speaking to groups of people, 200 people, sometimes 300 people. And I remember I was paralyzed with fear. Steve knows I couldn't talk to people. I was very quiet. I'm an observer. I'd just rather let other people talk and listen than talk myself. And when I was asked to actually talk in front of the room, it scared the heck out of me, really bad. But I knew it's something I would like to do, possibly, maybe, please God, someday, And what happened was I got up there, and it was only 5 minutes, and I spoke, and I discovered I like this. And it was just after that, it was just developing the skills, because I was so afraid of the idea of doing it. But when I did it, where some people are like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me and it freaks me out. I was like, these people are hanging on my every word. This is awesome. So you may surprise yourself. You go out there and speak, and you may find that you really are cut out for it, right?
And
Yes.
by the way, I was always in awe of you, Rob, because you always, when you were up there, I really was. Funny, witty, charismatic. You had it all, and still do. So I appreciate you big time. Yeah, definitely a mentor from afar, if you would. Number one, I want to welcome Travis to the show. Looks like he's from your community. So great to have you on here, Travis. I want to say my sister Eileen, she's on with us. So appreciate you, sis, Izzy. Um, and then a good comment here from Kim, which is more reps equal more confidence. So good stuff. Appreciate you chiming in there, Kim. But let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep the ship going. So, ultimately, yeah, a lot of what we do, it's great. Maybe good for the ego, good for the self-esteem, good for self-development. But ultimately, you know, show me the money, Jerry, right? What does it convert? Does it convert into business? So let's talk about hashtag conversion. Put that in the comments community if you can. And you guys are doing great with the comments here. Make sure if you have questions for Eric, please. We want this to be interactive, not just you just typing in words, but get in the comments and not only, if you have a thought, but get a question in there. But here's a question for you. What turns attention into actual paying clients, Mr. King?
That's a great question. And I've been a sales coach for many years, over 15 years. So I know what it takes to actually eventually get the sale, right? So it's one thing to be a good speaker and to have a great message, but it's another thing to monetize it. And the first step to monetization is to show people that this is what you do for a living, right? So you want to have footage online of you speaking, right? You want to have content so people can see it. People need evidence that you do what you say you're going to do, right? So for instance, let's say you speak at an event and then you have the guy who is running the event do a testimonial for you. Now people see that testimonial on your page and like, wow, okay, so there are other people that like what Steve talked about. Maybe I should hire Steve, right? So you want that. You want to be able to
You heard
build
that?
Yeah, yes. You want those testimonials out there, right? You want to have the footage so people can see you. I mean, I probably have, I don't know, 500 videos out there, right? Why? Because when people see it, they're like, okay, he's an authority, right? And one thing I will tell anybody online here that's afraid to just go out there and start speaking, start small. Do a video from your living room, a short 60-second video about what you do. And then from there, you start doing more and more and more. And that's how people start to see you. And then you create an ebook. Maybe you create a free ebook, right? I started with that. I'm going to give you all one today, right? A free ebook that shows people what I do. Then you can write a book. Like you wrote a book, I wrote a book, right? We've written a book, right? That also gives you credibility. And then you can create a course based on the book, right? Or a coaching program, right? All of which I've done. And some people want to engage with you on the level of buying a book, maybe $10, $15. Some people want more. Like they wanna buy your course, maybe for $500, $400. But some people actually want to work one-to-one with you, Steve. They're like, if I can just work one-to-one with you, oh my goodness, I'll pay a couple thousand, right? So that's how it works. So now you have clients at different levels, right, based on what you offer. And don't be afraid to charge people, because the people that actually pay, they pay the most attention. They're the ones that will really get the value from you, and they will show up. I've done events where 300 people register and 60 people show up. Why? Because it was free. It was free. Yeah, but when they paid me thousands of dollars, they all showed up, right? So
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm actually in the process of I'll be speaking at an event down in Philly in about a month, and it's to commemorate the 250-year anniversary of country's birth, if you will. And it's going to be this. If everything goes as planned, it's going to be a Guinness Book record of the most amount of people signing a book signing, I believe, is what we're doing here. So So I'll be speaking there. It's a great event, but it's going to cost a little bit of money, and that's exactly what the host of this event said. He said, we need skin in the game to make sure they show up, because we don't just need people to pay for the event, but we need to break this record. We need people showing up. So, but more on that to come, community. I'll be posting about that later. But anyway, this is great, and I want to just acknowledge we have a couple other people here. Bebe, I'm not sure if that's your name, or Bede, or Bede. Sorry, I don't know if you know, Eric, who that is, but welcome to the show. Dr. Wilson, I think I know how to say your first name, but I'm not going to butcher it. So, Dr. Wilson, welcome to the Master Connector Show. Hope you come back and see us again.
I do know Dr. Wilson.
Awesome.
Because she's going to be speaking on my stage. I do know.
Oh, beautiful! Look at that. What an honor! What an honor! That's awesome. Good stuff. Well, let's keep the ball rolling here. I think we're going to finish up with momentum. All right, we're already building momentum here. We're getting there. So, community, type in #momentum. And here's the question as we start to close and wind down: what's one shift someone can make today to start building real authority?
To basically get more serious in everything I just talked about, right? Yeah. So get serious about speaking on other people's stages, right? Create some kind of leave behind that you can share with people. So when you speak, like now I'm going to speak and I'm going to give you all an incredible ebook. Now some of you are going to download the ebook, and now you'll be part of my community as well, right? And that's how you build relationships, right? So create something that you can leave behind that other people can see, and then get the reps in. Get on social media, do some videos, just get started, and don't make all the excuses that people make. I'm not a people person. I don't like the camera. What? Look, none of us did before we started. At least maybe most of us didn't before we started. So yeah. So just do it. Basically, just do it.
And I'm gonna translate. Not that you misspoke, Eric, but I want to translate. When he said get serious, audience, he meant you got to do something every day to work towards that. That's what serious means. Because I mean, I used to be this way. Steve, remember, we go way back. I was like, oh, I'm serious about this, and it's like, well, show me your calendar. Like, what do you got going on? It's like, oh, well, I lost it. If you're serious, you're taking steps every single day towards that goal, towards speaking. You got to do something. And I love what you said earlier. It's just do a 60-second video yourself and put it out there, right? Because that's what people are scared to do. They're scared to put it out there, right?
Mm-hmm. For me, what was important for me was for me to get my first critic, because I was so afraid of a critic, and then I got it early. Like one guy just ripped me apart, and I look on my YouTube, because on YouTube you can click on the name to see their page. I clicked on the name. He didn't have any videos. So here's the thing: a lot of people that criticize you, they're not even as good as you. So don't worry about that. So don't worry about the critics, because you'll always have critics. In fact, the more successful you are, the more critics you have. So,
Cal, I'm not going to quote it because I don't have it memorized, but Calvin Coolidge has an incredible the man in the arena, I believe. So look it up, community, and there's a great, I don't know if it's a poem or I think it's more kind of a poem, but or a I guess a poem, but it's great. It talks about the critic, so check it out. But appreciate you. So I know as we close down, and you have something you want to offer our community, would you just talk a little bit about that, please, as we wind down, and then what's the best way for our community to reach you?
Sure, absolutely. So what I'm going to give all of you is an ebook I created. It took me months to write. Thousands of people have downloaded it and benefited from it. It is 100 ways to promote yourself. 100 ways to get out there and for people to see you. Okay, so go to successwitheric.com/100, and Eric is ERIC. Successwitheric.com/100, and you'll be able to get practical ways to be able to promote yourself, to promote your speaking, to promote your book, to promote your courses, whatever it is. So that's what I'm giving all of you for free today.
It's awesome. Best way for everyone to reach you?
Yeah, all social media platforms. LinkedIn, I'm big on LinkedIn. I'm not as big as Steve, though. I think he hit the limit. LinkedIn is like, wait. You just hit. Yeah, I think you have like 30 million.
30,000 they cap you. You can do followers unlimited, but not connection.
So LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all Eric F. King. Don't look for Eric King. You'll find 100 of them. Eric F. King, I'm the only one.
King, absolutely.
And if you want to learn more about
Eric
my stage,
F. King has an incredible setup.
If you want to learn about my stage, go to studiospeaking.com. Studiospeaking.com. There's a 4-minute video, and it will tell you all about how I help speakers, coaches, and authors to share their expertise and monetize their message.
Perfect. It's awesome. Well, we appreciate you big time. Thank you for blessing our community, and I'll just put you in the green room, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. But awesome. Don't sleep on it. Connect with Eric for sure. Eric F. King. Anyway, I want to finish up real quick with a couple of thoughts here. By the way, next week, episode 257 on the 22nd, be a leader of significance with Musango Mukwa. He is an amazing man, part of my network, incredible friend, really, really, really cool story, and really, really amazing. If you're interested in learning more about the show, as Rob said, go to masterconnector.show. If you want to be a sponsor of an episode, you can learn it there, or to be, to see some of the future episodes. That's a great place to see what we have coming up. And we're booked out all the way to January. It's crazy, but we only have it showing up until, I believe, like May or June. But, we'll be getting some of the other ones up soon. But anyway, I want to finish with a story. Hamdi Ulakaya, founder of Chobani, I think that's a yoga company, arrived in the U.S. as an immigrant with very little money and no network. Unsure of where he truly belonged, instead of following a traditional path, he trusted his instincts, leaning into his identity, and built a company rooted in purpose, generosity, and people-first leadership. His journey reminds us that when you embrace who you are and build from that truth, you don't just create success. You become a beacon of light that shows others they belong to. Folks, let's remember to shine our light. God bless. We'll see you next week.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives